between Miami and Orlando, it's some of the worst in terms of affordable housing. And I just call it the economic Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I call it the economic Hunger Games because honestly, he was talking his rent went up 30%. I've seen as much as 60, 70%. You have Wall Street investors buying up, as soon as a house goes on the market, Wall Street investors are offering cash deals at full asking price, sometimes over asking price. They purchase the house and then in some cases bulldoze them, build new houses or put a lot of money in to fix it up, and then they're renting it, at exorbitant prices. So it's become this thing where, a lot of people move to Florida, lower taxes, more affordable to live. But now, you're lucky if you could even rent one bedroom apartment. Can you kind of talk about, because you've done a lot on housing, transit, give people a feel for what's going on here and how it really is a crisis if you actually want to put a roof over your head.
Yeah, like you said, it's an emergency. The rent and housing prices are out of control. They've gone up 30 to 50%, and wages have not gone up nearly enough. In addition to dealing with all the other inflation, gas prices are skyrocketing, the price of food, and the working class that are the backbone of the Orlando economy cannot afford to live here. Instead of spending money on affordable housing and transit and the stuff our working class need, we're providing corporate subsidies to places like Disney, Universal, and the developers, like you mentioned. They're buying out the city council, they're buying the commissioners and getting whatever they want, and we, the people, are suffering. Like I myself come a low income background, and I'm lucky enough to live with family. Otherwise, I would not be able to stay here and do what I do. Orlando in particular has skyrocketing rents because of the Wall Street developers coming in here. They're buying up the housing, they're keeping it off the market, and they're speculating. They're making sure it's sold at the highest possible cost, and they're not providing any benefits to the working class. Our local leaders are ignoring the problem completely. We need new solutions at a local level.
Mm-hmm. And also, you mentioned, I was talking to Maxwell about it a little bit, but how do you get those solutions from the local level if the Democrats, Republicans are taking money from Disney, taking money from the real estate developers? Seems to me there's, not just here, but everywhere, they're basically, for their campaigns and to stay into power, very, very reliant on this corporate cash. And then they're basically, in return, Disney gave $5 million to Republican lawmakers, and then they got about over $500 million in tax breaks. Democrats take a lot of money from these same people. Isn't that at the root of this issue?
The campaign money goes to whoever benefits the corporations. We need to control the money in politics firstly, but we also need to organize, because money can't buy votes. The people have the power to vote for whoever they want. So we also need to get money out of politics. We need to find real solutions to our affordable housing crisis on a federal level, on a state level, and a local level. I'm a convicted felon. I'm not even allowed to vote. So I'm not to tell you who to vote for. I'm out here doing the work. I'm organizing. I work with various groups. We have rent strikes. We are fighting for rent control. There's all these tools that are possible to prevent the high cost of housing, people being displaced and gentrified, and the local leaders are not taking advantage of it. So it's a struggle, it's a hard work, and it might seem like an obstacle that is impossible to overcome, these millions of dollars in corporations versus little housing organizers. But the fight, you got to keep fighting. I believe at some point in the long term, like Max was saying, when we have our generation affected, the boomers in control that own the houses, they don't care about housing prices going up. They're benefiting completely and not paying their fair share, just like Disney and Universal. But the younger generation that is truly affected, we need to get out there and vote and organize for all the things, rent control, tenant laws, tenant protections. We need to get money out of politics. We need to provide real solutions. instead of funding $125 million roads. Disney doesn't care. Local leaders don't care. They are only concerned about funding their pockets. It's funny, when corporations hit welfare, it's considered to benefit the greater economy, but when lower income folks get handouts, that's considered shameful. That is a terrible double standard that we need to reverse. Why do corporations only believe in the free market when it applies to working class folks, but not to them?
Yeah, there's no such thing as a free market. It's
Exactly.
So what do you say to viewers? Because not just my audience, but I think progressives, a lot of progressives have become kind of very cynical, jaded, saying, yeah, we know about the corruption, not just here. People watching probably have their city council, local officials, taking money from real estate developers. So what do people do? Like, you're more of an outside electoral politics person. You're doing direct action, organizing. What should jaded, cynical people who say, you know what, I can't vote for Democrats anymore, or I don't want to focus on electoral politics. What do they do when the system is so corrupt? I mean, what you're describing, $125 billion for a filthy rich Universal / Disney, and $10 million for housing.
Yeah.
What motivates you to keep fighting, and what's your message to other people who don't want to do different things than just focus on electoral politics?
Yeah, I'm completely cynical, completely jaded. Like, convicted felon, in 2018, they gave us our rights to vote back, and they immediately overturned that in the legislation by Florida. So I'm as cynical as they come. So as far as my response to people who are jaded and cynical as I am, I think they should do the work on a local level. That's where you can actually make a difference. I'm out here organizing. Go join your local DSA group or your local tenants union and organize for housing. Organize the people for the things we need. Electoral politics are important, but they're not a be-all, end-all. I myself am able to vote, so that's what motivates me. I can't make a difference in the ballot. I can't contribute it. I'm too poor. So I'm out here every day doing the work, yelling at our elected officials. It's the only thing that keeps me sane, putting up with our corrupt society. So I think you should find a community of like-minded people, and organizing the people, you can really make a change. In St. Pete Tenants Union and Tampa Tenants Union, they have made some good progress instituting emergency rent-controlled ballots, and you can do direct organizing, community aid to aid the people directly in need.
That's being glossed over because then you hear nationally, the economy's booming. The economy's coming back. All these low-wage jobs that came back during the pandemic, no disrespect, but the hospitality industry, a lot of these jobs added are in the hospitality industry, non-living wage jobs. Good luck if you have good benefits. Most people don't. So it all seems to be a bit of a mirage.
Yeah.
And the media pushes that, the economy's doing better, there's a recovery, but it's kind of a fantasy recovery.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big problem here in Orlando. We're paying all this corporate welfare to Disney and Universal to bring in these low-paid tourism jobs. They do not pay their fair share to accommodate the uncontrolled growth in the low-wage industry here. Orlando regularly ranks 50 out of 50 metropolitan areas for average median wage. And when we have skyrocketing housing and rent prices, the people, it's unaffordable, it's unsustainable, they cannot live. So many people are displaced to have to drive 2 or 3 hours, not take transit, just drive hours away. And with gas prices the way they are, we need to have people live close to their jobs, and that's not happening because of the lack of affordable housing, because all the money is being spent subsidizing these corporations, causing the problem. People love Disney. They don't want to do anything to upset them. Over the years, politicians that have opposed Disney and tried to make them pay their fair share have received, intense opposition. Their candidates against them were funded significantly. They were voted out from the back behind Disney. They've put so much money in making sure they cannot be opposed in the community. What they say goes, and people are so in love with Disney, they're like, yeah, anything to keep Disney here. we'll go along with, which is the issue. We really need an entire cultural shift to realize corporations are not your friend. Disney, like with the Don't Say Gay bill, they haven't spoken out at all. And LGBTQ people love Disney, so they're really feeling betrayed right now. So I'm hoping people start realizing and waking up that Disney is not your friend. Despite Mickey Mouse is not a good person, we need to stand up to the corporations that are really oppressing us and oppressing the working class people here.
Well, also right now, it's basically going to get to a point people aren't going to be able to even afford to go to work.
Yeah.
I mean, gas prices are through the roof. A lot of it's price gouging. You know, they say it's because of the war in Russia. Some of it is, but a lot of it's just these fossil fuel companies making record profits and saying, hey, we'll just blame inflation and jack up our prices. So there are families that, before the gas prices went up, that were very close to having to make some very difficult choices. And now, how do you afford a 2.5, 3 hour drive for Disney workers or other things if you have to fill up twice a week at $75, $80, $100?
Yeah, not only can you not afford to pay for gas, but now you also have to pay for tolls, because not only are we sold out to the real estate developers and the corporations, but our local leaders have sold out to the road builders that fund the unsustainable suburban sprawl that is really at the heart of our climate crisis. We are building billion-dollar roads in the middle of nowhere, destroying our precious nature, and then we're building all these McMansions that are unaffordable to working class because that's most profitable. It's most profitable to build in nature instead of building affordable housing close to jobs, which is what we need. We need to force developers to build the affordable housing, the workforce housing that helps the working class people that are in so dire need.
Absolutely. And my last question to you is, I mean, it kind of goes back to when you say organizing, what does that look like to people watching? How do they get involved in their community when the system is so entrenched, so corrupt? People watching might be like, all right, what if I join a tenants union? How are we going to go up against Disney, which is a multi-trillion-dollar company? What's your message to people about organizing, and how and why should they get involved?
Because the status quo is not sustainable. If you just let things happen, then you're also culpable. You have to make a difference, because we got to fight for a better future for our children, for our future generation that are truly suffering. There's good people in every city doing the work, and you got to find those people. DSA, I'm an active member, big fan. They are one of the few uncontrolled interests in our nation that are really doing the work and putting the working class people first. You yourself, you always speak truth to power. So there's good people. Just find them and never lose hope despite the obstacles, because that is what they want. They want you to lose hope. They want you to be apathetic and complacent. But we cannot do that. We got to keep on fighting, because our entire future is at stake.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.